Good afternoon and welcome to the 204th episode of the Georgia Farm Bureau Georgia Prep Sports Drive for the GHSA State Title. Today we're going to be joined by Walton girls basketball head coach Matt Kelterborn. I'm really excited about that. It will be his first time on the show. He goes by Coach KB. And Walton is having an incredible season on the girls' end. They won their first region title since 1983. They went into the region tournament as the number 2 seed. So I saw that Coach Kettleborn won Cobb County Coach of the Week for that victory, but they said that they earned the 2 seed. No, they were the 2 seed, and then they beat Cherokee for the number 1 seed. And that was a big win. One of their goals early in the year was to beat Cherokee. They knew that was going to be probably the toughest region opponent. They had won 6 straight region titles and had won 13 straight games heading into that matchup. For them, though, it looks like it was Harris. Yeah, Lexi Harris had 35 points. Just a massive performance for Cherokee. They couldn't stop her. And then they obviously had a big 65-60 win over Denmark in the first round of the playoffs to advance. Hold on one sec. Getting text messages. So right now, Coach KB is in the middle of a shoot-around, and he's going to join us momentarily. I'm checking with him. But we're going to go over, obviously, Walton's big matchup tonight, and then we're going to talk about the rest of the playoffs. I have some other news as well, but it looks like Coach is going to join us right now. I just got a text from him. He's going to step away from the shoot-around. Okay. So we see him. He should be on his phone. One sec. Okay. They will be playing Central Gwinnett tonight. That is at 7 o'clock tip-off. Obviously get the scoop on Central Gwinnett this season real quick. That will be the first matchup between the two teams. Okay, he was on his computer. Yeah, for some reason, computers, you would think it would work better because of the strong direct connection to the internet, but the phone seems to work better, which is convenient for us because, I don't know, I think it was last week, we talked to Coach Godfrey, former Parkview head coach, who's now at North Gwinnett, and he was one of the first interviews to do it from his car. And so we got to talk to him while he was driving on his break. He actually preferred that. He was like, perfect, I can do it. I'll be in the car on the road. So that was fun. Central Gwinnett, they're 22-6, coming off a 53-44 win over North Gwinnett in the first round. They lost to Buford in the region tournament to get the number 2 seed. Looks like they lost to Buford three times this season. So that's the bulk of their losses. Some big wins as well. They have been scoring a lot of points. But even with Walton in the first round, their win over Denmark, they had a player go off for a school record 47 points. They just matched them with firepower. So they're comfortable playing in a back-and-forth game. They obviously have the scores with Lexi Harris and company. But I think what's really exciting about Coach Kettleborn is he's been at Walton for 10 years. And the Walton program has more Directors' Cups that's awarded to the school that has the most accumulation of points. You get points for making the playoffs, winning state championships. Okay. It says, it keeps saying unable to access camera.
You might have to allow it on his settings, depending on his phone. Allow like the application to use his camera.
Okay, one sec. I'm going to make sure we get this. So you would go to the settings, would you go to general or want to send them a text? I want to send them exactly where it would be. So is it on the camera tab? There we go. I don't see it there. Would it work without the camera or no? No, it's not going to work with that. Shoot. Hold on. Let me see. One sec. All right. That's a problem we haven't run into before. All right. Well, Coach Kelterborn, he's also a math teacher at Walton, which is impressive in itself. Man, math at Walton is next level. I made a joke with Brandon Adams when we were calling, gosh, who was it? It was Walton against the Lowndes. Yep, Walton against Lowndes in the Corky Kell Classic. It was a thriller. That was 2 seasons ago. He was talking about one of Walton's players. He said he had a 4.0, and I made the joke that that meant that he was in the probably the if you have a 4.0, you're probably the top 20 to 30%. It's insane how high the GPAs are with all the honors classes at Walton. Making a 4.0 is no joke, but there's just so many students that have the 4.2s, 4.3s, 4.4s, or however high it goes. And then math is just exceptional. And also worked with the middle school program. So he really helped build this, honestly. You have a team that had been struggling even last season. They did not win a single region game. Didn't even come close to making the playoffs. They did have some close games, but to go from last to first this year just shows that he has been preparing these girls to compete at this level, and it's just really impressive. And even the boys, number 4 seed, they got the big win over Region 7 champion Lambert in the first round. And so back to my point, Walton has won more Directors' Cups than any other school in Georgia's highest classification, and they've done it without having any history of the boys and girls basketball team getting points for making playoff runs. Even their appearances in the playoffs is going to be more points this year. The first round wins are 2. So he says he can see and hear me.
The space was just there.
Okay, so should we try it? Okay, we had you for a second, I'm going to say. He says he can hear me, so if you can hear me, Matt, we had you for a second, and then it went back out. It might be the connection. We'll keep trying, but Najee's looking closely, so if he sees you pop up on the split screen, we'll just bring you on. We got him? Fantastic. It looks like there's a little delay. Hold up, I don't want to interrupt.
It might just be audio.
All right, Coach, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Awesome. Perfect. So talk about just what today's schedule is going to be like, getting ready for this big home game, how the shoot-around went, what you've been telling the girls, and just how exciting it was to get that first-round win.
We're going to team lunch, and coaches are going to team lunch as well after this. Shoot-around went great. It's been long. Practice yesterday, preparing for today, and that's really what we've been stressing is practice is how you're going to play, and they've taken that and move forward with it every single day. So we had a really good practice today against that tough matchup against Central Gwinnett. They're very athletic. They like to play fast. They try to turn you over. Similar game that we like. So I'm going to be on that.
Yeah, and I was looking at Central Gwinnett. Looks like they have been able to put up a lot of points. We mentioned just the strong start you got off to in the Cherokee game. Mark team that was having a crazy night shooting. So just how confident are you just the way your girls have been battle tested to be able to handle this moment, just seeing what you've gotten out of them this year?
Definitely think, we trust in what we're doing and really refocus. And this year we have girls on the court that we trust. They know what to do, and that's allowed to be up and down games where we actually had, I want to say it was 19 or 20 point lead against Denmark in the third quarter. And then number 13, I can't remember the last name, I think, just went off and scored 23 points. And panic. The girls didn't panic. They stayed in the court. They did what they had to do at the end. And throughout really all of our games recently, especially the Cherokee game and North Cobb in the region tournament, started out hot and relying on our defense to keep things moving forward towards the end of the game. So we're relying on our defense. It's one of our biggest stressors. It's been part since I took over this program.
And Coach Kelterborn, I want to ask you just about your time at Walton. You've been there 10 years. This season has to be really exciting, but also just the new school. I mean, it's amazing. You saw what Walton was like before they got the new building, the new gym. Let's talk about how happy you are just to see just the current state of the Walton basketball program.
I mean, it's awesome to have the program that we do and building the program the way we've done. We really and I took over on he took over at the same time I took over the girls' side, and we both have similar philosophies on how the program is run and how we do things. So we focus on our junior band, which is really what they saw success in the last 2 years into the year. And what we started seeing is just seeing kids that have been developed and doing what we're asking them to do. And then you look at the facilities, there's not many things, other than say Buford and things like that they have better facilities than we do. Just with the new school and seeing how even the academic side is improved, the schooling, it's matches what we're trying to put together as a school and as an athletic department. So definitely proud to be here and excited where to keep seeing us go and what the future is.
Yep, and in terms of this season, have you seen significant improvement just since the beginning to where you guys are now? And was there a particular game or moment where you feel like they kind of turned the corner and became that playoff team that could compete in 7A and make this run?
Back at the beginning of the summer, really, and said I made the point to simplify our offense so that kids more so are playing, not necessarily thinking. I think that's made a big difference in how we play, and we share the ball extremely well. Kids at left thirds is scoring above 15 points a game. Grayson Allen is close to there. CC Childers can knock in shots as well. But they don't play selfish at all, and I think that's led us to be able to be the team that we are right now. Looking at specific games, kind of over Christmas break, leading into that first game back, Matt played a heck of a job against us, but we had one of our down games that game. That kind of thing that we've got to change up a little bit on how we approach things. And definitely the game at Southport side, where I think we lost by like 30 something. We kind of came together, and the girls had a few things that were going to be different and made some changes. And the next game against Laster was the game that we kind of took off and really showed what we can do as a playoff team. And girls started, they kind of were excited about that, but I feel like even when we were off by 3, that was when they really started to believe, and that kind of put the fire to them.
Yeah, 100%. So what you were pointing out is you played this really tough non-region schedule, had a tough loss to South Forsyth, I think one to Wesleyan also, but then to have that Cherokee game to open region play and come within 3, it seemed like that was that moment where that confidence was built. And I mean, from there, did you just see a different sort of focus from the girls in practice, just holding their heads a little higher, just being able to compete with Cherokee in that game.
Definitely. I think, we haven't played Cherokee in 2 years because they're in our region. But, no, they know about Cherokee a lot. So I think, we were in a close game. Cherokee, they went on like a 15-2 run or something like that to start the game. In years past, our teams would drop the games we would lose by 30, and we made a comeback to the third back. And I think that and to say all the hard work put in is paying off, and the reason for it. And those games against we took up in the third quarter, and then got out of hand of our place. They still kept fighting, and they more player level this year than ever before, and I think that's what seniors push the girls. They do a great job. They're a great extension of us as coaches, and I think that's
And then talk a little bit about your roster, just some of the strengths and what the girls are bringing to the table.
It's strength that Lacey Harris is dominant now. Can take over a game against the answer, and she ended up with 35 points. And I can't remember how many rebounds, but she played fantastic on both sides all season. And Grayson Allen is a tall guard, with that post up, so it's a nightmare. I'm taking advantage of. And DC Childers has been shooting well all season from the outside, but they're leading us and improving about attacking the ball as well. And then around the starter, actually is the effort is where we benefit from defense all around. Sophomore that's really show athleticism and really offense.
And it looks like, do you have two pairs of sisters on your team with who was it, with Harris, and then you mentioned the Ellen sisters?
I think it was and combination whatever love for sisters. So it's to see them, this
Looks like we're having some connection issues, Coach. I'll let you go in a second. Just last point, with Walton, it's no secret with athletics across the board. The volleyball team's outstanding. The soccer, girls soccer, girls lacrosse. You have all these programs that have won the state titles. You've been trying to build this basketball team up. Just being around the campus, the student of the break, just with his roster. So Lexi Harris talks about how she's the girl that can take over games. She did it against Cherokee with the 35 points. There's also Hannah Harris. I believe that is her little sister, who's, let's see what grade she is. You have Lexi's the 6'3" senior. And I don't see it. Okay, so I might have gotten that one wrong. But then he was talking about the Grayson Ellen. She's a sophomore. And then the senior is Casey Ellen. I think just a big physical presence is what he was saying. And then we'll just see how they keep pace with Central Gwinnett. He talked about how athletic they were. But also just how Lexi's been with her 6'3" presence, has been able to clean up, get the rebounds, and just keep the team in the game, dictating the pace, answering certain runs. And he also said that this season was kind of the first time where he hasn't had to take those timeouts to get the girls to calm down, get them back in the game and focused when the other team gets a run. There's more trust there. He knows that they'll know how to respond and can kind of sense when the game needs them to step up and get those points and kill the momentum from the other team. So I couldn't be more excited about this matchup. I have nothing against Central Gwinnett. Think they're a great program, but the Black Knights did knock me out of the football state playoffs in 2005, my senior year. So I wouldn't be upset if Walton gets a big win, but all the respect to Central Gwinnett, a great program. I can't be too bitter about that, but it would be really exciting for Walton to continue this run. And you make the Elite Eight in Class 7A in Georgia, you are doing things right. You got a real program going right there, so it would be a huge opportunity for them. But we're going to go ahead and take a break and thank our sponsors, Georgia Farm Bureau.
Our mission has always been to support Georgia farmers. That's why we created Georgia Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, providing financial protection that farmers needed. While this remains the same today, we've grown to protect all Georgians through home, auto, and life insurance. From the very beginning and into the future, we stand for every Georgia community.
We are our Farm Bureau.
All right, welcome back. So before I get into basketball, I had talked about Central Gwinnett, and I wanted to bring some attention to this guy. His name is Darren Coleman. He is going to be a senior next year. I think he has been on Grayson's roster, but now he's at Central Gwinnett. He's got a 3.8 GPA, plays receiver and DB. He made and he returns kicks, had a 99-yard touchdown last year. But he recently made, I guess I wouldn't say made, but he's on Cam Newton's 7-on-7 team. He's getting ready to compete in that tournament. And I've been watching some of his film, not just in the games, but these one-on-one drills where you have the quarterback, the DB steps up. It's obviously not padded, but it's all about footwork and working on that technique and coverage. And honestly, it's really hard to succeed as a defender in those situations. The quarterback's obviously not being rushed. You usually tell them what route you're going to run before it. And as a receiver, you have the ability to improvise because the quarterback's just waiting to see you get open. It's not a combo route. But I'm telling you, his skills in coverage is unbelievable, and he has some of the best footwork I've ever seen. I've seen a lot of guys in these drills, whether it's the cone, you'll have the coach telling him what direction to go, really complex cone drills where he's flipping his hips, and he has some of the fastest feet I've ever seen. He's absolutely on the grind right now. Is Darren Coleman. I suggest looking at him on Twitter, and he goes by Daco. And so Central Gwinnett, their football team, is looking to bounce back from, I'd say, a tough year last year. They've had just so many new head coaches coming in over the past few seasons, obviously in a tough region with South Gwinnett, Archer, Newton, all of them. But I think he's a guy that is going to make a ton of plays. And from what I've seen, I think he can cover anyone. And I think offensively, he has the route running ability to basically have a big impact in every single game this season. So keep an eye on him. Keep an eye this weekend, or I think it's next week, when he's in that Cam Newton 7-on-7. I think he's one of the more exciting under-the-radar players. I think he'll give Central Gwinnett a massive boost. But let's get into the basketball coverage right now. Had some news on the Grayson and Walton front. Sorry, Grayson and Newton. Sorry, one sec. I'm trying to find it. Here we go. From the region championship game. So with Grayson, something that was brought to my attention recently that I didn't realize they've won 6 straight region titles. This is the Grayson boys. And so they've been one of these teams on the boys' side that, I mean, we obviously know they're great at football. They've been one of the biggest powerhouses in basketball for quite some time. Their latest region victory coming out of, Region 4, a region that many would say is the deepest and toughest in the entire state in terms of basketball. It came with a battle over Newton where they won 62-49. We kind of knew there was a brewing rivalry between those two teams, just seeing each other a lot. Grayson knows how much hype is around Newton, how good they've been. They've kind of split the regular season series, but things got a little chippy afterwards. I have the story right here on this is by Colin Hubbard, a great writer. This is for the Gwinnett Daily Post. Things got interesting. It says a celebratory team photo at center court with the Region 4 7 championship trophy wasn't in the cards Friday night at Newton. After taking down the number 3 ranked Newton Rams, which both teams are the Rams, so just another intriguing thing for that rivalry. But so after taking them down 62-49 on its home court, this was at Grayson, for the second year in a row in the region championship, Grayson wasn't awarded its first place trophy until 10 minutes had passed, thanks to a scuffle that broke out after the game between the two coaching staffs. The Newton administration and coaching staff took offense to Grayson's on-court celebration at the final buzzer. After the final buzzer, minor scuffle ensued, and the Rams were escorted back to the locker room without being awarded their trophy. Grayson head coach Jeffrey Pierce was finally awarded the trophy in the tunnel, and after a quick celebration inside the locker room and some more back and forth arguing between the two programs, the Rams exited the building with a police escort. So I think that is very interesting. Those two teams, that is a clear rivalry right there. It's with the players, it's with the coaches a little bit. There's obviously tremendous mutual respect right there. But those teams do not want to lose to each other. I think that is just really exciting. I don't know when they would potentially match back up. It would have to be in the state championship. But boy, would that be something if they managed to do it. Obviously, they have to get through a brutal bracket. Wheeler's still in there. Norcross is still in there. But just how about that? Rivalry continuing to grow between Grayson and Newton, just seeing each other so much. And then what's also just so crazy about that, so Grayson, they don't really get to celebrate on the court afterwards. Things get, nothing serious happened, just some disputes on how it was handled after. But then the next day, Grayson's getting ready to host. I mentioned 6 straight region titles, so they've been used to playing at home. Someone in their PE class kicked a soccer ball. I don't know why their PE program was practicing in the main gym. Maybe that's something they'll look into, but someone kicked a ball up into the ceiling, broke a sprinkler, flooded the entire gym, and ruined the court. And they've had to go on the road to Archer, which is their closest school. Archer was probably one of the better teams that didn't make the playoffs, but they had to play that first round game at Archer, and they're going to have to do it again tonight. So it's just a crazy week for Grayson. Just kind of encapsulates the drama of high school sports right there. Just everything a coach has to deal with. I just can't imagine. You're leading this program. You're getting your guys ready for the playoffs. You just had this nonstop barrage of not only region tournament games, but hosting the region tournament for boys and girls. It's pretty much just like every night, accommodating all those teams, all those games. You're finally through the region tournament. You're ready to just focus on this next game, and then someone comes in to tell you, hey, coach, the court's ruined. So if Grayson can overcome that adversity, I think that'd be really exciting. They'll obviously play tomorrow night. I just thought that's just one of the more wild things. So Grayson's going to host Valdosta at Archer tomorrow. And the winner of that game is going to play Walton and Peachtree Ridge's winner. So just crazy. The other game I think we should be talking about on the boys' side, that's going to be probably one of the more enlightening measuring sticks on where the 7A kind of hunt for the championship is. It's going to be Berkmar at Cherokee. Berkmar, 6'10" center Makai Ragland. He missed pretty much the bulk of the season, came back in the first round against Buford and just had a massive performance, 20 points, was hauling in all these rebounds, block shots, just really dominating the paint. And he's joined by forward Tyson Jones, who's 6'8", versatile player, can go out and shoot. And so that's the strength of Berkmar's team, is that front court. A lot of other teams are more guard-centric. They don't really have that big presence down low. Obviously, Kell's a team that does. But some of these others don't have that big man. It's not something that is benefited to a lot of high school programs. But Berkmar has it, and they're at full strength right now. And they're playing a great Cherokee team. Cherokee will be hosting, but you got to think after getting that big win over Buford, Berkmar is going to be going into it with quite a bit of momentum, and they did make a deep run last year in the playoffs as well, I believe, to maybe the semifinals. And so, yeah, 6'10" presence in the paint, had the massive performance against Buford with his 20 points, and that was a 58-53 win. So you kind of see that defense they bring too, holding Buford to 53 points and him contributing 20 points, clearly getting it done on both ends of the court. Let's go real quick, though, to another interesting storyline from the first round that reminded me of an older game I was actually at, and that was North Cobb Christian. Their girls only dressed out 5 players and were able to advance. That's something you don't normally see, but it reminded me of 2014 and 2015. It was absolutely crazy. So this was Southwest Atlanta Christian. In 2014, they started the season with only 6 girls on their roster. And at one point, I believe it was in the playoffs, they had an injury, and they literally had to bring in one of the cheerleaders just to have an extra body if things got desperate, if girls got into foul trouble or whatever. And they were able to win the state title in 2014 over Holy Innocents. Then they ended up losing by 2 points the next year to St. Francis. And it was just crazy watching it. They literally had a girl out there that, was a decoy. She did not play basketball. She's out there in the state championship. It was crazy. So we'll see if North Cobb Christian can continue with this thin roster, just 5 players. But you got to think, there's clearly ways to try to attack that. Whether you just try to play with tempo, wear them out, target one possible girl to try to get her into foul trouble. You got to do something. It's crazy for a team to have the advantage of a bench to not be able to find a way to get the victory. So we'll see what happens with that. I just thought that was something we don't see too often. They'll be at number 1 Banks County, who is one of the better shooting teams, a team that has just been outstanding every single year in the playoffs recently, and it'll be a big challenge for them. They just got to keep moving the ball and trying to wear out North Cobb Christian. So I'm going to look at some of let's see. Let's go to 7A. I already mentioned some of the boys' games. Westlake at McEachern. Let's see. Here's, yeah, Najee highlighted this yesterday. Definitely an outstanding stat line and something to watch in this matchup. So McEachern had the win over South Gwinnett 66-55, and Ace Bailey, 6'10", he had 17 points, 19 rebounds, 10 blocks, 3 steals, 3 assists. As Najee said yesterday, a triple-double with blocks. So how will Ace Bailey continue this outstanding run for them? North Gwinnett's going to be at Wheeler. Wheeler hasn't lost within the state yet. Grayson, we mentioned them. They're going to be hosting Valdosta at Archer. Parkview at Carrollton. Carrollton's currently ranked number 7. Parkview's not ranked because they've had kind of an up and down season, but has proved that they can beat a lot of good teams and show up. So let's look at them real quick. I believe they beat Harrison in the last round. Yeah, so Parkview's coming out, obviously, of that region with Grayson and Newton. They had to play them all season long. Every team out of that region is going to be battle-tested. South Gwinnett was the only one that didn't win in the first round, and they lost to McEachern, who was outstanding. Okay, so they beat Hillgrove 64-61. So can Carrollton get this big win and kind of validate that position they have in the polls? All season long, they've been playing really well, but just a lot of people see them. They're new to 7A. They don't really have the big 4-star basketball recruit, but they're just solid. They're gritty. They play well as a team year in and year out. They make deep runs all the time. It's just tough to beat them. A couple of their losses this season, Buford 58-56, 2-point loss right there. They lost to Hiram. I think they're number 3 in 5A. And then they lost to Pebblebrook, but then turned around and beat them in the region tournament the next week. So Carrollton's hot right now. They've won 3 straight heading into it, including last round 77-56 over Colquitt County. And that was a rematch of the football semifinals last year. The other one, Burkmark Cherokee, we talked about that. Pebblebrook at Newton, watch out for that one. Newton, a team that many think can be represented in the finals this year, but they have had some losses recently. The one to Grayson, obviously the one to Wheeler. Ja'Kai Newton's back, but I still don't think we've seen Newton hit that stride. Stephon Castle is outstanding, but that's a big test for them. Pebblebrook is coming in really hot, and that's one of the few top 10 matchups we have. It's going to be number 8 Pebblebrook, number 5 Newton, and then Osborne at Norcross. Norcross has just been getting it done all year long. The defending 7A boys champs. Could be a storyline with them trying to defend their title and then potentially matching up with Wheeler, who is joining 7A from 6A after falling short last year. On the girls' side, Lambert's going to be playing at Norcross. I really like Norcross in that one. They just always have just great size down low. They're tough in the rebounding. They have girls that can shoot, get to the basket, draw fouls. Lambert's more of a team where they always seem to have 1 or 2 girls that can really shoot the 3 well. Archer at Lowndes, I like Archer in that one. They're a number 2 seed, but they're ranked number 6. And that 2 seed was the result of a very close loss to number 1 Brookwood in the region tournament. You have Cherokee. Cherokee is obviously coming off that loss to Walton in the region tournament. That's why the 2 seed. They're going to be at number 3 Buford. North Paulding at Pebblebrook. That is one of 2 top 10 matchups we'll have in the Sweet 16. That's number 7, North Paulding, at number 8, Pebblebrook. North Paulding's had a lot of good wins, including one over South Forsyth earlier this year. Campbell at McEachern, a good Cobb County matchup right there. McEachern's ranked number 5 in the state. Central Gwinnett at Walton. They're going to play the winner of Campbell and McEachern. We'll see if Walton can keep this incredible season going. Carrollton at Brookwood. Brookwood's ranked number 1. They've been unstoppable this season. Can Carrollton find a way to slow down Deanna Collins? And then Peachtree Ridge at South Forsyth. That's number 8 Peachtree Ridge at number 4 South Forsyth. So I really like those matchups. The bulk of the girls will be tonight. You'll want to go to scoreatl.com to check out all our roundups. We'll try to get as much game info as we can. We'll make the recaps brief, kind of let you know the simple facts of how the game was won. Who had the big lead? When did it get built? Who was contributing the points? Who finished with team highs, game highs, and who stuffed the stat sheet? We'll have all that. So let's go to 6A, where I think the top storyline there is there are 4 defending champions still alive on the boys and girls side. That was a result of the reclassification, and that's going to be the Grovetown boys, and then the girls, it's 3. It's Lovejoy, Woodward Academy, and Marist. They all won last year and are now crowded in a region. And what also stands out is those 4 defending state champions won by an average of 32 points in the first round. So overall, we did not see a whole lot of blowouts. We saw some really competitive games, but not in that case. So 6A seems to be a little more top-heavy with these season programs, and they will obviously start to clash in this round and beyond. On the girls' side, going to have Lovejoy, who was the number 3 seed out of that incredible Region 3. They're going to be at Veterans. Sequoia at North Forsyth will be a good game. North Forsyth is just yet another team that came into 6A. Most of the Forsyth schools stayed in 7A with Denmark South, Forsyth Central, West Forsyth. But North Forsyth in 6A just making it even tougher. I think Woodward Academy at Brunswick is going to be a really good one. Najee was talking about that one. Brunswick has some big-time scorers, and Woodward Academy's been really hot lately. Lee County at Rockdale County. Rockdale County is, at this point, considered the favorite to take it. Lee County would be a tough matchup, though. And then the big one for me, it's Tiff County at Marist. Marist is coming off a huge win over Forest Park. Can they continue to just play that incredible defense? They held Forest Park to 33 points in the first round. They've been doing it all season long, but specifically in the last couple months, holding teams to 25 points, 30 points every single week. Can Tiff County find a way to get something going, or will Marist just continue to really dominate the pace of the game and just make baskets a premium? On the boys' side, you're going to have South Paulding at Lanier. I think that'll be a good one. South Paulding has shown that they are a top 10 team. Lanier is up in that top 5. I think it's a really even matchup right there. I would not be surprised if South Paulding pulls off that upset. Pope at Etowah will be good as well. Pope is just so well coached. The coach has been there for a long time, and they're just a team you don't want to match up with. They don't necessarily return like multi-year starters every year. They don't have the big star power, but they're just so consistent, and they're going to draw up a game plan. They're going to try to expose weaknesses and do whatever they can to get that win. I think Pope is very dangerous in 6A. I think Brunswick at Jonesboro will be a good game. And then Shiloh at Alexander. Can Shiloh pull off that massive upset? And then the defending state champion Grovetown will be hosting Marist, looking to continue its run to a potential title defense. Grovetown started the year off very slow. They pretty much had, I'd say, a lot of hype just after beating Wheeler in the playoffs last year and going on to win the state title. They pretty much packed their schedule with the national circuit. Lost early, people were wondering what was going on, and now they are playing unbelievable and are back to form. So we will see what happens with that. That'll be Marist at Grovetown in 5A. The Friday games, this will be the girls. Well, actually, did Cambridge and Calhoun play last night? I'm going to have to check on this. Seeing that they played on Thursday, I don't see how that would have worked. What computer is that? There's a computer. It sounds like a helicopter right now. Okay, yeah, so the AJC blog had it wrong. Cambridge was doing really well this season. We had Coach Keys on. They kind of hit a slump, but then really turned it on in the region tournament because, I mean, they went into it with not an optimal seed after losing to Centennial, I think GAC, but they showed up and were able to, I think, get that 2 or 3 seed out of that region. So they'll play Calhoun. I think the other big matchups to watch are going to be Hiram at Kell. And Kell's just been outstanding. This is the year for them. On the boys' side, Tri-Cities at Hiram. That's going to be on Saturday at 5 o'clock. Mays at Winterboro, another just matchup that's undoubtedly going to be evenly matched and just outstanding. 2 top 10 teams. Cass at Chapel Hill. Chapel Hill has really been playing well. They look like a team that can make it to the semis. And then Eastside at Kell. Can anyone compete with Kell this season? That is the big question. They were one of the teams that they showed up in that first round and just lit up the scoreboard, nearing 100 points. And same thing with, it was Sandy Creek, man, in the first round. Sandy Creek prides itself on that. It's like, if you're a team in football, like let's just say you're all out offensively, you're trying to just score as many points as possible. That's Sandy Creek's basketball team. They just play at such a incredible pace. Let's just look at how high scoring they have been. They're 11-1 at home this year, 22-6 overall. They've scored 2,050 points in 28 games, so that's got to be like 80 points a game. So yeah, 100-57 win over Ringgold in the region tournament. They beat Carver Atlanta 101-31. Beat them the previous week 90-32. They beat Cedar Grove 91-56. They beat Carver 115-20. Like if you're Buford, you have your specific Buford cheer, and they obviously judge the best one. So that's a really exciting event that I know the schools take a lot of pride in, and that will be this weekend. So we'll have all the basketball scores tonight, all the roundups of the girls' action, and then same thing on Saturday. We'll have the game day results as well as the boys' Sweet 16 updates. So be sure to go there. Check it out tonight. We'll be back on Monday to recap it all, and we'll have another full week of coverage. So thank you so much for joining us. Good luck to the Lady Raiders tonight, and we'll see you next week.